Alhamdulillah, ala kulli hal, no matter what we're going through, we always thank Allah Azza wa Jal. We are grateful in all conditions. We're talking about a topic that I think, may hit home for many people, and many may actually benefit from this. Is about the emotional toll of infertility and how to cope. And those who have experienced this know what it's like. For couples dreaming of welcoming a child, the journey can be filled with hope, but also deep sadness, frustration, and even feelings of isolation. It's not just a medical journey, it's also an emotional and a spiritual one too. Now, many people don't realize that struggling to conceive can affect mental health, it can affect relationships, and even daily life. Feelings of grief, inadequacy, or guilt can surface, and the pressure to stay positive when facing repeated disappointments can be overwhelming. But there is hope, and there are ways to cope. Seek support and navigate this challenging journey with strength and patience. Joining us now on our screens in the airwaves of Razia Rangrage. So hop onto Facebook and YouTube. We are joined now by Dr. Razia Patel, gynecologist and fertility specialist who consults in Santon Fertility Clinic, now based in Waverley at the Centre of Advanced Medicine. We welcome her. Assalamu alaikum, doctor. I think you just need to unmute yourself.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah for having me on the show for such a important and heartbreaking, but also a journey that needs courage and hope and the use of the instruments of Allah on earth, inshallah.
SubhanAllah, barakallah, it's only a pleasure. And I think we don't understand what couples go through, not just the woman herself during all of this. And I think it's so important having a doctor that can actually guide and support you emotionally as well. Often we find that doctors can be quite clinical, so we thank you for this. Many people don't realize how common infertility is. Could you share some statistics on its prevalence in South Africa or even globally?
So it is probably the same, except globally in South Africa, it's probably the same, except that some places are not equipped with with systems that report the numbers well. So overall, we say it's about 1 in 6 couples, which actually boils down to like 48 million couples, 186 million individuals. So there's a lot of it out there, and even those only come from centers where we can record their attendance, because there are many people who stay home and many people who don't get to the clinics, many people where it's stigmatized, they don't admit to themselves, they can't admit to each other, they don't have the means to get to clinics. So either monetary wise or even social support wise, because many people keep it within themselves, couples don't talk about it, it's hard to talk about between the two of you, then you try not to make your heartache everybody else's, and you also don't want to be looked down upon by people, so you don't share with your community, you don't share with your close family, you keep it within yourselves, and couples struggle, and they struggle in themselves and as a unit. So 48 million couples is a whole lot of people, and like I said, that's an underestimate.
Wow, that is a lot. And it makes so much of sense. I mean, it's that inner dialogue, the fear of the judgments, what people will think, and all of that keeps couples, stuck and unable to speak about it. So, we've said that infertility is not just a medical condition, but it's also an emotional journey. Share with us from your experience, doctor, what are the most common emotional challenges that patients actually face?
As women, we always think that we are never going to have to chase this prize, and we are always going to be parents. Most people expect in their lifetime to achieve this. They may think, okay, I may not be an astronaut, I may not be the president, I may not drive a fancy car, but I'm going to be a parent. So it's not something you think you need to work towards, because it's God-given and your body is designed for that. And I usually say to the patients when they're coming to us for help that you're not asking for us to teach you how to fly, because you have been designed for this. It's your default setting. You're going to get there, inshallah. Allah has written for some people not to have children, but we don't know who those are. We all have to strive towards using the instruments, and we must put our best foot forward. So all in all I'm saying about all of this is that when you can't have a baby or you're fighting to have one, in fact, initially you think to yourself, I have to hide from this. I have to keep it away. I have to use contraception. I don't want to become a mother too soon. I want to get used to my partner, travel little. All of those things you plan. Then when you start chasing it, it's almost running away from you. And it's hard to understand why you, compared to everybody else, has to be chasing it. And other people, your younger sister-in-law, your best friend at school, who's also the astronaut, now has a child and a career, and you just can't get this baby. So it is something that you feel your body's failing you with, and you can't admit it to yourself initially. You can't admit it to your hubby, who expects you to give him children. That's the way we think, and it's a blessing for both, and it's a reward for both. But ultimately, people think it's the woman's responsibility, and we have to change that mindset as well, because we do investigate the male as well, and a good percentage of infertility is related to men. But all in all, we as women believe that we carry that responsibility. I often have a patient who comes in by herself. Hubby doesn't want to come. She doesn't think he needs to come. Sometimes he might even have fathered a child in another relationship. And I'm saying, you can't take the car to the service station and tell the mechanic, don't check the engine. I checked it 5 years ago and it was working. We check everybody, right? So Bismillah, we carry it as women very, very deeply within our hearts, and we feel very much like failures if we don't do that. And it doesn't have to be that way, because there are a lot of us who have a lot of other talents as well, and we should count our worth in society from how we contribute to humanity. People cook well, people counsel well, people are community driven. We all have strengths, but having a baby seems like the thing that you should be able to do without much effort. So when we carry around these feelings, it should be, inshallah, something that we can talk to the husband about, inshallah. And we should also be able to seek help, because the gynecologist is around, and we don't have to see a fertility specialist initially. Your GP you can start with, inshallah, just to start reminding yourself where the ticks in the boxes are. Because when you start feeling depressed about yourself, you can stay away from social events. You can isolate yourself. You can leave yourself open to domestic disputes, sometimes even violence. You start regarding yourself as less than you actually are. So again, with the dean, with counselors in your area, with doctors, we have to remember that we are not only made to procreate, and our worth is not only in that. So we see a lot of the numbers of fertility and unreported fertility in sub-Saharan Africa, because women here are maybe not having careers, whereas in Western populations, first world countries, people are working, they're the CEOs, they're the bank manager, whatever is happening in their life, they have another way of feeling worthwhile. But sometimes a lot of us who marry to have families, essentially, are feeling incomplete without a baby. And we also have to remember that isn't so. And we have to feel whole within ourselves.
Absolutely. And I think as I'm listening to you, the big question we got to ask is, how am I here to serve? What is my purpose that Allah Azza wa Jal has created me to serve? Because we all make up a beautiful puzzle. We just don't understand what it is, but definitely you have a big purpose being here. What coping mechanisms or lifestyle changes do you have that can actually help individuals or couples dealing with infertility?
So I think that people should understand that you're not the only one, again, from the numbers, but you also don't know how your neighbor or your cousin who had infertility for 5-10 years had a baby. Because a lot of people then seek the help of fertility clinics, because coping mechanisms have got to do with addressing your problem and being part of the solution. You're not necessarily part of the problem, but by staying back, I think you make yourself part of the problem. I often say to patients, you can't ask Allah for 500% and you're not doing what you're supposed to do. Because then people even get despondent. They are starting to, in terms of, like if you thought you need to lose weight and you started exercising and eating healthy, which is very important, when you're not getting the baby, sooner or later you stop doing that as well. And I think people stop praying as well, because you're saying to yourself, I'm not getting the baby. Every effort that I'm making, I'm only thinking about it. I'm obsessed with it. So you stop praying as well. So I that people should reinvest and reopen their vision about, yes, I can have a baby, I will have a baby, my journey is just different. Because like I say, it's not, you're not asking for the impossible. Allah Ta'ala made your baby body to do that, right? So you must be able to have vision. And if you can't establish that vision and reinitiate that vision in your own mind, somebody must help you. Whether it's your appa, whether it's your community service lady, whether it is us, you need to see somebody who reminds you what is good for what is good in you. So we start doing the investigations. We check your egg quality and your tube, and we check the sperm, because we're ticking the boxes. And in ticking the boxes, you feel part of the solution. So inshallah, I'm saying that don't stay alone at home. Don't keep it within your heart and your head. Talk to someone. Even your neighbor, you might be surprised. She might well have gone through the journey herself. But lots of people don't talk about it, and they don't want people to know that they've been through the journey. But please find help, because alone it just becomes a bigger monster. And sometimes between the two of you, you and your hubby, you talk in the same negative talk after a while, and you need to, somebody must bring in the positivity. So get back into your exercising, eating healthy, praying for what you want, asking Allah, trusting Allah that He will give it to you, inshallah, and use the instruments that He put on earth. I mean, we're not supposed to rely on the instruments, but you must work with the instruments. Don't trust or rely on them, but come to us. We need to help you. You need somebody to make you realize that your desire and your dream can be fulfilled, inshallah.
Inshallah. I mean, beautiful reminder, and also very practical as being Muslim and Muslimah. There are more questions that I had, but due to time, we're going to have to wrap up there, Dr. Razina. Inshallah, we'll have you on again, and we thank you for your time. May Allah continue to bless you to help couples in this amazing work you're doing. Until then, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And that was Dr. Razia Patel talking about a very important topic, and that's the emotional toll about infertility. And beautiful reminders that we are Muslims first. And first and foremost is that we accept the decree of Allah Azza wa Jal, but we don't just sit and do nothing. We think of Hajar alayhi salam, who did Safa Marwa 7 times. Not after 1 or 2 times sat and became despondent and said, oh, I'm not getting anything. That iman, that tawakkul, that faith, and taking action. So it's part of tawakkul and tying your camel. Tying your camel means you're taking action. So take the action. Yes, it is definitely not in the tools, as Dr. Razina said. However, it is in that, Ya Allah, everything is in your hands, but I am making the effort. Inshallah, whatever you decree for me, I accept. It is time for a break, and then we'll be back with you after 11.